All right. Hey, everybody. Hey. Welcome to day one. So this is all about dōTERRA and how to use essential oils in your home. What are essential oils? And I'm going to go over the top 10 oils that you're going to learn about. All right. This is going to be very exciting. The first thing I want to say is if you're watching this at the time it posted, please leave in the comments the word live and your name next to it. And when I get to check on that, then I'm going to put everybody's name into a drawing, and whoever name I pull out, they will win the oldest prize. All right. I do want to give a shout out to the host for doing this. This is amazing. And let's just have a good time and go ahead and jump right into it. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Also, before I do that, if the quality is not good, I've noticed that there's a little gear icon right below the video. And if you'll click on that and go to, I think it's HD or 720, it'll be a lot more crisp. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Here we go. So I'm going to teach y'all 3 cool things about essential oils and how to use them. All right. First up is peppermint. But let's talk about safe. All right. Everybody knows what the word safe means, but what does it mean when it comes to dōTERRA? All right. Well, first and foremost, in a bottle of oil, so this is peppermint, all right? So in this bottle, dōTERRA, well, just a little bit behind the scenes about dōTERRA. dōTERRA sources their oils from other countries. Nothing is grown here in the U.S. simply because everything is force grown, greenhouse, hothouse, etc. So dōTERRA goes to great lengths to get this oil from other countries. And in exchange, we simply, we can give them fresh running water, build schools, hospitals, things like that. Things that we take for granted in exchange for essential oils. So that's amazing. So peppermint, let's go with this. So it's 100% natural and safe, right? There's no side effects, there's no addictions, there's no chemicals, no fillers. So anybody from an infant to the elderly can use the essential oils, and that's what's amazing about it. They are simply from plants and trees, and what you get in that bottle is just pure oil, 100% pure oil. dōTERRA is the #1 essential oil company in the world. And they're the only ones that are stamped CPTG, which simply means they're certified, pure, tested, graded. So let's talk about peppermint, right? Now, peppermint itself has over 70 different uses. I don't claim to know all those by no means, but I will tell you what people use them for most commonly, okay? So peppermint, first and foremost, a lot of people use this for headaches and migraines, okay? So how do you use it, right? Well, you just put a drop on your finger and you rub your temples. You can repeat that process every 15 minutes until that headache goes away. I do want to share a fun fact though. So if you're watching this and if you ever heard of tried a peppermint tea before, you know what it tastes like, right? So a fun fact about peppermint, like 1 drop out of this bottle, just 1 drop is equivalent to drinking 28 cups of peppermint tea. That just amazes me every time I say it. 28 cups of peppermint tea, okay? 1 drop. All right, so let's go back to it. So we got headaches, migraines. Of course, if you have a stuffy nose, you're having a hard time breathing, you can put 1 drop in your hand, rub your hands together, 5 deep breaths, and it instantly clears you up. Will it come back? Absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing as medication, except with the natural approach. So you can do that. Maybe it lasts an hour, maybe it lasts half a day. I'm not sure. Everybody's different. So yeah, drop in your hand, 5 deep breaths, it instantly clears you up. And that's amazing about peppermint. Peppermint is also a natural coolant, right? So if you have a little one or yourself that's having a fever, an elevated temperature, or somebody that's having like a hot flash, you can simply put 1 drop of peppermint on the back of the neck, put peppermint on the bottom of the feet for the fever, and you can repeat that as often as necessary. Okay. What else about peppermint? Peppermint's a breath freshener, right? So you can actually take this bottle, put a drop in your hand, put your thumb in it, put it on the roof of your mouth. And I always kid people, right? I tell them to put your thumb on the roof of the mouth and then touch their eye with it. But I don't let them do that for the simple fact, if you ever get an oil in your eye, it burns. And the first thing that people think about is to flush it out with water. And that's the opposite of what you want to do when you get an oil in your eye. What you do is get fractionated coconut oil, put it on like a Q-tip or a cotton ball, and you just dab that on there and it takes the sting right out of your eye. So remember that if you ever get essential oil in your eye, that's what you do. No water, fractionated coconut oil. And, just like you cook with that kind of coconut oil, you can get it from Walmart or even dōTERRA has it, whatnot. All right, so that is the safe part. So let's move on to the second one, which is effective. So I don't know who's watching this that have maybe worked in the medical field or what have you, because I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence. But when it comes to science, I'm what they call science stupid, okay? Because science is not my thing. But we all know we have millions of cells in our body, right? So let's just say I was to take a cell out of my body, and this represented the cell. Well, in your body, it's covered by an oily membrane, and that protects the cell from everything that's supposed to stay outside the cell, and everything is supposed to stay inside the cell. Well, let's just say you have some sort of bacterial infection, right? And you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, yep, you have some sort of infection going on. Well, 10 out of 10 times, that doctor is going to prescribe you what? An antibiotic, right? Absolutely. And antibiotics have their time and place, and they're great. But what happens when you take an antibiotic? Okay. Well, a few things happen. So on that cell, you have good bacteria, and then when you have an infection, it grows bad bacteria, and the virus is inside the cell, by the way. So when we take that antibiotic, it kills off all the good bacteria and all the bad bacteria. So if you're watching this and you've taken an antibiotic before, if you're anything like my wife, when she gets an antibiotic, she knows she has to go ahead and get a script for a probiotic, because she's going to end up with a yeast infection just from the antibiotic. I mean, it wreaks havoc on your gut, throws your immune system out of whack, and it gets rid of all that gut flora. So that's what happens when you have some sort of infection going on. Well, let's just say you go to the doctor and you have a viral infection. I'm sorry, not a viral infection, something that's viral, like a cough, cold, flu, something like that. So if we are experiencing something like that and we go to the doctor's not going to prescribe us anything for that. And I'll tell you why, because antibiotics are synthetically blended with water, right? So think about that for a minute. If I have an oily membrane and I take that antibiotic that's synthetically blended with water, there's no way it can penetrate that oily membrane, because we all know that water and oil does not mix. It just doesn't mix. So go home, rest, let your body heal its body, drink plenty of fluids. When I was growing up, I was eat crackers and chicken noodle soup, right? So that's when On Guard comes into play, because On Guard is fantastic. So this is On Guard, okay? On Guard is our protective blend. So if you see right there, it says protective blend. And what's cool about this, inside this bottle, it has properties of antiviral and antibacterial. If you had On Guard prior to COVID, you were ahead of the quarantine game, because this sold out immediately. I didn't even know what to think, because I had just got started and I didn't know why it was selling out. But you remember the times that we couldn't get hand sanitizer, alcohol, nothing like that. So people were buying loads of On Guard, and they were making their own hand sanitizer, their home cleaning product, hand foam wash. They were doing all this stuff with On Guard. And of course it's full in stock now, but yeah, On Guard is number one for a lot of things, especially if you want to work on immunity and keeping your immune system on guard. All right. It's also great for strep throat. So if you ever have strep throat, you can take On Guard. You can use it topically, internally, or what have you. So that is On Guard. Let's move on to affordable. Affordable, I want you to think about if you go to the doctor, right, and you have to like pay a copay. You know, I've heard all kinds of prices. So I'm just going to say your copay is $20. All right. Well, let's just say you have to get a prescription, an antibiotic. Let's just say $5. So that's a total of $25, right? So if you go to the doctor and you're sick with some sort of infection, you're out the door with $25, give or take. All right. So the story I want to tell involves my 2-year-old. His name is Bryson. All right. So Bryson, when he was born, we did not have dōTERRA in our life, and he was prone to ear infections. And if you're a parent and you have children, or maybe babysitter or what have you, if a child has an ear infection, we know the symptoms, right? You lay them down and they scream because all that pressure being put on their ear. Well, we did what any other parent would do, right? What did we? We went to the doctor. They looked in his ear, and then if he had an ear infection, sure enough, called an antibiotic, took that for 7 days, and it was gone. However, a month later, boom, another infection. So we ran through that cycle. You know, it's like a revolving door. And we went so many times, the doctor ended up saying, hey, you know, you come another time, which had been the 5th time at that point in time. We're going to refer Bryson to the ear, nose, and throat doctor to get him evaluated for putting tubes in his ears. And I was okay with that because half of my kids have tubes. So Actually, the fifth time that we went, we had just joined dōTERRA. And sure enough, he had an ear infection. We went in, she prescribed an antibiotic. I called the wife on the way home. I was like, listen, we're going to be doing dōTERRA, right? And dōTERRA says they have something for an ear infection. Would you want to get the antibiotic or you want to try the old regimen? And she's all about trying the old regimen. So I was like, awesome. So we want to get all the experience that we could. So what is the regimen for that, right? It is a bottle of lavender. It's right here, lavender, and a bottle of tea tree, also known as melaleuca. And what we do is you take one drop out of this and one drop out of this, or one drop out of lavender and one out of tea tree, and you put it on these two fingers. And you take those two fingers and you massage it into the front of the ear, behind the ear, and back down that bone on the back of the neck. And you do that every 2 hours for a 12-hour period. So we did that throughout the night. We set the alarm clock, we did it, all the ear. And what we noticed when he woke up, there were no signs and symptoms of an ear infection. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't have the tool to look in his ear or device or whatever you want to call it. But we knew the signs and symptoms and they were gone. So, of course, he had another ear infection a month later. And this time we didn't go to the doctor, right? But however, we didn't know which ear it was either because he didn't tug at his ears. So what we ended up doing is just doing both ears. And sure enough, every time we did this in that regimen, 2 drops, one of each, every 2 hours for a 12-hour period, the ear infection was completely gone. And we just went about our day. So we're trying to figure out, like, how much money are we saving, right? So I always ask people, like, you know what it's going to cost you to go to the doctor. That's $25 or give or take. How much do you think it costs to use that regimen of lavender and tea tree throughout the night, right? I'll go and give you the answer. It was 63 cents. A lot of people are like, wow, yeah, 63 cents. Yeah, because the oil in the bottle are pennies per drop. So yeah, we're using a bottle, a 15 ml bottle that has 250 drops in it. I mean, these 2 bottles may last me 2 or 3 years if I'm just using it for that. So no more missing work, calling a babysitter. I mean, that amount of money is cheaper than the gas you're going to put in your car to go to the doctor's office, and you're going to be around other sick kids. Now, Bryson's had multiple ear infections since then, and every time we just use that regimen, and it works. So let's talk about. Well, first I want to say, when you're using dōTERRA essential oils, 80% of the reasons that we go to urgent care or we go to the ER, we can solve at home with essential oils. Now, they don't do everything, right? Of course not. But 80% of the reasons that we go, we can use dōTERRA essential oils for that. So just imagine that. And you don't have to call a babysitter, miss work, repeat trips to the doctor, prescriptions, et cetera, being around other sick kids. You can just take care in the comfort of your home. That's amazing to me. It really is. And it amazes me every time that we use it. All right. So let's talk about lavender. Lavender has properties of antihistamine. All right. So like if you get bug bit or if you get burnt accidentally, you can put lavender on there. It stops the itch, takes the sting out of the burn. But lavender is most commonly known for its calming. All right. So the majority of the people that use lavender use it for sleep. So if you have problems falling asleep or if you have problems staying asleep or going to the bathroom, getting up and come back and staying up 2 or 3 hours, lavender is awesome. And what's cool about it, if you wake up at 4 in the morning and you got to go to work at 6 and you want that extra hour sleep, you can put lavender on you because it's a natural oil. So you're not going to feel groggy when you wake up. So lavender is amazing for that. All right. So let's talk about tea tree. Everybody's heard of tea tree, I'm sure. What's tea tree good for? So tea tree is great for, it's antiseptic, right? So it's great for, cuts, scrapes. It's even great for dandruff, right? You put a drop in your shampoo through your hair and do that several times and then you're dandruff free. So that's just a few of the uses of lavender tea tree. All right. So let's move on. So far we've talked about safe, effective, and affordable. Now I want to tell you how to use the essential oils. There's 3 ways. The very first way is aromatically. So you can take, like I said, this bottle of wild orange. You can open it up. You can simply smell from the bottle. You can put a drop in your hand, 5 deep breaths, or you can put it in that picture right there. You see a diffuser from dōTERRA. It's called a Lumo diffuser. And excuse me. But a lot of people ask me, they're like, okay, well, first of all, wild orange is great for stress and anxiety. It's just like happy in a bottle. But I get this asked a lot saying, you're telling me I can smell an oil and it'll do something to my body? Sounds weird, right? So let me explain that. I know everybody that's listening here has experienced or heard of laughing gas, right? So let's think about that for a minute. How does laughing gas work? Well, first of all, they put a little nose mask on you. They turn on the synthetic compounds. They tell you take some deep breaths. In about 3 or 4 seconds, we're already feeling the effects of that laughing gas. So how does that work? It's simple, really. We have what we call an olfactory nerve right here in the bridge of our nose. And when we smell those synthetic compounds, it sends a signal back to the limbic side of the brain and then elicits messages, signals throughout the body. So let's move on to doTERRA essential oils. They do the same thing, except they're natural compounds. They're not synthetic compounds. So if you're stressed out or if you're having some anxiety or those type of feelings, just take wild orange, 1 to 2 drops. Anything more than 2 or 3 drops, you're wasting the oil. It's that potent, okay? So yeah, wild orange is great for stress and anxiety. The next one I want to talk about is Breathe, right? That's a respiratory blend, right? So Breathe is great for people that have respiratory issues, asthma, COPD, lingering cough, congestion, somebody's on a nebulizer, etc. And really, you don't even have to be sick to use Breathe or feel bad or what have you, because athletes, people that exercise, use Breathe. Because what it does, as soon as you rub this in, 2 drops, massage it into your chest, you're going to feel it instantly open up your chest. And what athletes do when they do that, they need all the oxygen they can get when they're running, so to speak. And so they can get that more oxygen in the body. So Breathe is absolutely great for that. All right. So that is aromatically. You can sniff it from the bottle, from your hands, or from a diffuser. All right. So let's move on to topical. Now, topical just simply means you just put it on your skin. Well, there's 2 oils I want to point out. The first one is Deep Blue. A lot of y'all may have heard of Deep Blue. So this is Deep Blue. It also comes in a rub. It also comes in a stick, which is kind of new. The stick has Deep Blue and another oil called copaiba. So when we layer oils, it has a stronger effect, especially for pain. So Deep Blue. So Deep Blue is great for cramps, soreness, pain, what have you. Now, what you see in that picture there is a bottle of fractionated coconut oil from doTERRA, and I'll refer to that as FCO, fractionated coconut oil. Now, there's 2 purposes of fractionated coconut oil, right? So if we're putting oils on a baby or somebody with very fair skin, what we do is we put the fractionated coconut oil first, because if we don't, the oil gets absorbed really fast into the skin. But if we put the fractionated or the FCO on first, it slows down the absorption rate into the skin. All right. The second purpose is when you're using an oil onto your skin, and like when you open the bottle, it releases the gas and you can smell the oils. Okay. So if you want the full effect of that oil, say for pain, you'd put the Deep Blue on first, and then you'd put the fractionated coconut oil second. And what that did, it would lock it all in on the skin. And I'm using my wrist, for example, sorry. So if I had pain on my wrist right here and the pain radiated all the way through my fingers, I wouldn't put Deep Blue all over my hand. I'd only want to put on the source of the problem there. So that way you put it here and it stops the radiation through your hand if that was the case. All right. The other oil is actually my favorite topical oil that doTERRA has, and it is called Digest Zen. Okay. That's the digestive blend. All right. So why is it my favorite? I'm going to go back. Well, let me tell you what it's for first. So if you have any heartburn, GERD, indigestion, anything in the digestive tract, even diarrhea, constipation, that type of thing, that is Digestin. So Bryson, all right. Bryson was born with IBS. I'm sure you know what IBS is, but just in case, IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. You have D or C. He had C, was constipation. So remember, when we were first joined doTERRA, we didn't have doTERRA in our life. So we asked the doctors, like, what are we going to do for this? And she recommended Caro syrup. So for y'all that mess around with Caro syrup, we know it's thick, it's sticky, but hey, it works, right? So we put a tablespoon in his breast milk, shook that up. He drank that like once or twice a day, I believe. That's a couple years ago, or 2.5 years, no, almost 3 years. Anyway, so he would use that, and yeah, sure enough, in a day or two, he'd have some bowel movements. So when we got to doTERRA, they said, hey, you can use Digestin. I'm like, okay, well, how do you use it? It's like you just rub it on his belly and do that every diaper change. And that's what we did. We did it every single diaper change. And what we noticed in a couple of days, that he was going to the bathroom a little bit too much. So we just, kind of dialed it down a little bit, and we started doing it like 3 times a day. And then, a couple weeks later, we do it 2 times a day. Well, fast forward to now, we use it maybe once every 3 to 4 weeks. So the point of that story is when you have a chronic problem, the more consistent you are with using the essential oil, the less frequently you'll have to use it. All right. So consistency is key when you have a chronic issue. All right. So that was Deep Blue and Digestion. All right. So the third way is internal. doTERRA actually recommends that we take our oils internally, but no, not every oil you can take, or every oil that you have can be taken internally. A good indication, if you want to know if you can take it internally, is on the back, and you probably won't be able to see it through the screen, but it says supplement facts. All right. If a bottle says supplement facts, that means you can take it internally. An oil like Deep Blue, you cannot take Deep Blue internally, so it's not going to say supplement facts on it. Okay. So that's an indication. The two oils I want to point out is one of them is frankincense. All right. Frankincense is like the Godfather bottle. So when in doubt, use frankincense, because frankincense just does about everything. It's a fantastic oil, but it has properties of anti-inflammatory. So that's right. So if you experience, we all have some sort of inflammation, it seems like. So how do we take it internally, right? Well, there's a few ways, right? So we can put a drop in our hand, put a thumb in it, roof of the mouth, okay? We can simply put a drop every 4 ounces of the water and drink it that way. Well, let's just say you absolutely love the benefits of frankincense, but you cannot get past the taste. I know people like that. I don't mind the taste, but some people just can't stand it. Well, in that picture there, what we see is a bottle of veggie caps, and what that is, it's like a fake capsule, right? A clear capsule you can take apart, and it's empty. Well, what you do is put 2 or 3 drops of frankincense in there, put it back together, and then you take it internally. So you're still getting the same great benefits from frankincense without the taste. All right. So yeah, that's frankincense. Well, I will add this. Frankincense has anti-aging properties. So a lot of ladies, what they do with their daily moisturizer they use in the morning, they'll put a drop of frankincense in their daily moisturizer, and it helps out with like age spots and wrinkles and what have you. So frankincense is absolutely amazing when it comes to pain or anti-aging. I will say this also, when you use Deep Blue, let's just say, going back to the wrist example, Deep Blue, let's just say your pain scale was on a 10, the Deep Blue took it to a 5. That's when you want to layer it in frankincense, because frankincense is also a booster oil. So you put the frankincense on first, and then you put the Deep Blue on top of it. And let's just say that 10 to 5, now it 5's to like a 2 or a 1. So frankincense is great for that. The second oil I want to point out is lemon. So lemon is a citrus oil, along with wild orange, lime, grapefruit, tangerine, different citrus oils. All right. So what's amazing about this, I'll tell you my experience. So before I joined doTERRA, I absolutely did not like to drink water for fun, right? I would drink water if I was dehydrated or working outside, sweating, I would guzzle it down. But when it came to just drinking it in the car or on a drive or something like that, I wouldn't use it, or I wouldn't drink it rather. So what does lemon and those citrus oils do for your body when you drink those? Well, it simply provides a gentle detox in your body, and you're going to notice that. Like for example, I put 6 drops in my drink, my like a 32-ounce mug. If you're just drinking a cup, everybody's different, really. So what I tell people is fill up with ice, put your water in it, put a couple drops on the ice cubes, stir it up a little bit. If you don't really taste the lemon or it's not to your liking, add 2 more drops, and then just get to the point where it's like that's the ticket. So yeah, it detoxes your body, and what you're going to notice about probably less than a week's time, you're going to be going to the bathroom more frequently than you have, because what it's doing is cleaning all the toxins out of your body, and it's a great taste too. So you'll notice that when you go to the bathroom, you'll notice the color will change. All right. So that is the top 10 oils. All right. I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. All right. So remember, a couple things here. If you did watch this video when it posted, remember, put your name, beside the word live, type the word live, put your name there, so your name can go in a drawing for an early surprise. Okay. Just to give you a heads up to what the next 3 days look like. Of course, this is day 1. Day 2, we're going to be talking about my favorite topic, the dōTERRA supplements, and we're going to dive deep into that. And I'll have graphics, and I'll do another video tomorrow around the same time. So every day is going to be like an hourish, less, more, nothing over an hour and 30. I mean, really, it's made for an hour. If you did miss it, you can come back and watch it, or if you heard something you like but you didn't write it down, you can go back and watch the video, what have you. Again, shout out to the host, and if you have any questions, please reach out to me, reach out to the host, put some comments in the comment section so everybody can see. I mean, there's no dumb question, right? Just put it in there, because somebody else may be thinking about the same question. Don't put it in there, and then we can all kind of just ask questions and get to know each other and what have you. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in to day 1. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Just have a blessed day. God bless everybody. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.